Have you been avoiding your finances and money? Or do you have lots of ease in this area? Whatever your current situation is, this subject can be pleasurable, fun, and light. And all it takes is the willingness to have more consciousness. Welcome to the Finances and Money with Joy podcast. I'm your host, Cristina Matsusaki, and I invite you to look differently at this world. Hello, and welcome to this podcast where we talk about money and finances, but in a little bit different perspective than the usual, and it can expand your life in a totally new and extraordinary way. I am Cristina Matsusaki, and today I would like to talk about a tool that turned my life upside down. This tool is from Access Consciousness. That is a tool that, beyond all the tools that you've already heard about in this podcast and from this podcast and other sources, Access Consciousness brings you tools that you can use in your daily life and that can bring this new perspective and this different perspective about the world. And what if that's what can modify, alter, and expand your life to a life that you truly believe that you can have and that you desire to have as your future and as you're living? So, this tool actually is a point of view about how things work in the world, especially the world of business, and it gets louder in the world of money when money is utilized or how it's used in the world and in society. So let's think about a situation in which you go to a supermarket to buy something, so to do your groceries. You choose your produce, you go to the cashier and you pay for them. So you give the money and they give you the produce. And that is a transaction, okay? You gave something and you received something. If you don't give something, you cannot receive. So though these compound of rules, we're going to call a transaction. It goes and comes back. If it doesn't go, it doesn't come back, and vice versa. And all of the other consequences, for instance, if I give X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z will come back. If I compliment my neighbor, maybe she will give me that rosebud that bloomed in her yard. Can you see the consequences and the thoughts that come from those transactional rules? How much our life is pushed forward by those rules? Have you ever realized how much? Maybe more than 90%? Maybe you've always lived like this? 100% or more, maybe. And what if this rule wasn't a fatality or like an ultimate truth? What if there were other ways of interacting in this world that weren't this transactional way? How would that be? So, observe your day. I don't know if you're listening to this at day in the end of your day, but how was your day today? Start observing and looking at your morning, at your day, all your acts, all that you thought, and during the day, throughout the day. Are you thinking what you should do to get X, Y, and Z result? Or is that result a consequence of something that I did or didn't do? For an example, oh, why did my partner did that grumpy face on the morning when he left the house? Didn't I kiss him or what happened? You know? That would be a thought based on a transactional occasion. What were the causes? What were the what were the things that you got right, the things that you got wrong that resulted in this situation, in this result? Why did this result happen? And have you guys realized that this situation, this transactional reality, not that it obliges you, but it encompasses the rights and wrongs that are the causes of the results. There's this constant balance of judgment and this like measures and wrongnesses and rightnesses. Interesting that, right? And beyond those rules of you give and you receive, there are also the consequences and the peripheral rules that always come with that. And as you live your life, maybe you have many situations that it's dipped into this transactional reality. And how many conclusions did you take from each and any one of those situations? How many emotional shocks that you were like looping in your head are very shocked or maybe traumatized with those situations? And if you can let go all of those points of view that you are still defending or rejecting or avoiding, all the emotional ones, how would that be? What if instead of thinking about the consequences, what if you could just be yourself in that situation? And that way, offer the contribution that you are naturally to the world, to that situation, to those people that are in that moment. How would that be? I wouldn't say that everyone around you, just by you changing this point of view about the situation, the transactional situation, to contribution, they would start receiving this new way that you're being. But what would it be like for you to be able to function from the true contribution that you are? And yes, receive from the environment around you and the people around you the true contribution that they are, without any measuring of the results or any measure of the rightnesses and wrongnesses of the actions and of the consequences of the choices that you make. How is that for you? This was one of the concepts and one of the tools that truly turned my head upside down. And this is very recent. This is not wow. To me, it wasn't a milestone that from that on, where I took when I had the awareness about this, my life started to be so different. But it was this like bit by bit and step by step practice of being present with me every day and realizing, is this a situation where I'm functioning as a piece of a transaction? Is that it that's making me so contracted and feeling so weird? Because when you're functioning from from things that doesn't work for you, that we call lies, when you work from a lie, your life starts not going forward and not progressing. It starts to be difficult. It seems that you need to make an effort, like a huge effort, to walk forward. So, what are the lies that I was using and trying to make work in my life? Is now the time to have your true financial reality that you've always dreamt about and you know is possible? Would you like more ease with money and finances? So join us in the new Conscious Finance program in www.chrismatsusaki.com/FC. See you there. And so that has been the daily exercise I've been making, and I still keep doing it. And I invite you to also start doing that by yourself in your life. How does that show up? What if I didn't need to function from the transaction of this reality? Take the situation and ask that question. What if I could, me, what is that? What is required here? Which contribution can I be? What contribution can I receive? What does this situation require? Some of those questions you can use, or any other question that you get. The questions always open more possibility. They always bring you more awareness. And if you believe, if you trust, actually, if you trust in what you know and in what you perceive, yes, you can make choices that will maybe take you to a greater life. The questions empower you to live the real life that you'd like to have. So here we're talking about transactional realities and your real contribution. One of the points, one of the aspects about contribution is that it happens in both ways, in the place of gifting and receiving simultaneously. And I would say even beyond that, you know, simultaneously, the contribution has this temporal component, and it has implicitly the meaning that there are different things happening temporally at the same time simultaneously. So contribution is way beyond that in the sense of the gifting and receiving. They are in one only act, let's say it that way. It's not that they happen separately. When you are a contribution, really, truly, and you are gifting, there's no way that this would happen without the simultaneous receiving. So if in that moment where you're receiving, but you think you're not gifting, you have basically deleted this contribution. Being the contribution or living from the premise of contribution doesn't mean that you will cease to pay your bills, for an example. So you go to the supermarket and you don't pay and you just say bye bye. No, it doesn't happen that way. The bills come, electricity, water. You won't cease to pay your bills. And you also won't cease to charge from your services and products. Wouldn't this be a way of imposing new rules of transaction? And wouldn't it be a new way to ignore totally how currency functions in this present reality? So what if you could, from each paycheck that you receive or everything that you pay or every invoice, what if that could be done from the space of contribution? and not from the accounts or justice from this reality of pain and giving and taking. Would that be different? Would your life be different? Would your daily life in each moment be different? How would that be? So that's it, guys. Questions and the real contribution that you are and that you can be to the world are some of the tools of access consciousness that you can find in many, many books and in their website, accessconsciousness.com, and in all the classes and courses of access consciousness. And I invite you to come also check our 3 month program about conscious finances. A good day, and until next time. My target is to empower and invite more and more people to the joy that finances and money can be. You can know more about this through my social media and my website, chrismatsusaki.com. And if you know anyone that's looking for this, let them know. Thank you, and see you soon.